everybody. Welcome to the Women's Wellness Lounge. You know, it's Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday, and I have none other than my special girlfriend and my special guest today, Wannae Anderson. She is a dark diva house of beauty. Ain't she beautiful?
Thank you, sis.
Thank you so much. Listen, we had a week delay, so I hope you come with the energy because all this goodness and greatness was supposed to happen last week. Okay, let me just back it on up. And she's
a whole mess, but we're here.
We're here. Okay. All right, y'all. So welcome into the show. Drop me some love in the chat to let me know that you're here. You guys know I'm your host, Elena Watkins, and we don't hold back. We give you the real, the raw, and the relevant here in the Women's Wellness Lounge. So tonight's show is about that weight loss journey. Listen, half of y'all, and drop it in the comments because y'all know I'm gonna call you out. Y'all start these weight loss, wellness. I'm going to do better at the beginning of the year. And here we are into the second month. Today's February the 7th. Typically, yes. When this show was scheduled to air on January 31st, by that time, I swear I was going to call all of y'all to the carpet because most of us don't make it 30 days for whatever lifestyle habit we are trying to embrace. So, Wannae, you beat the odds though.
Come on. But let's be clear. I did start a year early.
Yeah. Through that. However, that's even better. That's even better that you last. So I want to know, what was it that made you get past that 30 days? That's usually the hardest. Like most people can, whether it's lifestyle, finances, but any type of change that you want to make, right? That's just statistical with behavior changes. In the beginning, what was it that kind of made you say, I'm going to push through, stick through, and like go through?
I think for me, it was the yo-yo of the up and down. Mm-hmm. And let's be clear, when we're in our 20s and 30s, the bounce back is like, we can do it. Yeah. Okay. And then we hit that magical age, whatever that is for you. Mm-hmm. And girl, there's no more bounce back. Yeah.
Listen, come on.
There's no more bounce back. And so
you're looking around like, what happened? Wait a minute.
I said, what happened? Okay, so let's talk. We're gonna have a real conversation tonight. Because
so switch me over. So I just put that out there, how everybody thinks that you go from this to that, right? They're thinking, oh, like this happened overnight. No, it's a transformation, and a lot goes into it from the neck up. That's down.
And let's keep it clear. Let's remember that. The funny part is you don't even know it's happening because when you're gaining weight, it's not overnight, right? It's a gradual thing. And so I don't know why we have this mindset that we are going to all of a sudden lose the weight overnight. It doesn't work like that. And so that's literally what happened. I was working out. I was trying to eat right. I was doing all those things and nothing was happening. And so I ended up calling Delana and I was having a whole meltdown. Literally, I just was like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? Something is wrong. I don't feel like myself. I feel like I'm having a nervous breakdown. And I had gained so much weight. And I had gained weight before. Of course, I'd been up and down. But this was very different. This one was different. And did I lose my girl? I think we might have lost her.
No, I'm highlighting you, okay? Because you're going in with the story. So I put you front and center.
Okay. So I called her. I remember this, guys. I was literally sitting on the steps and I called her and I said, Delana, something is wrong. And I was just in tears. And I was like, I don't feel like myself. Like I just didn't feel like myself. That's the only way I can describe it. And usually I'm a very jovial person. It's easy for me to, take my losses. Okay, I'm gonna have my day. I'm gonna cry. Put my big girl panties on and I'm good, right? But then the weight gain came. And I was like, sis, your girl is
happening.
What is happening? And I was like, I can't lose weight. I was like, I'm doing the same thing I was doing before. I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'm trying to eat better. I am going to the gym. At this time, I was literally going to the gym like 4 to 5 days a week. And when I tell y'all that fat was going nowhere, it was going nowhere. And she was like, girl, you going into menopause. It wasn't now.
I gotta unhighlight this. Repeat that part again.
She said, "Girl, you going into menopause," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, you like
Now
a
let's put some reference on it because I'm not one that shies away at all from my age. I'm good on that. So this year I will be 50. This is a golden year, right? So when
yes.
we moved from the DMV on the East Coast, for y'all who don't know that, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia, to Houston, Texas. So I'm an H-Town girl now.
Oh,
Okay, so I moved to H-Town, and the food is good. The
yeah.
food, the food is on one. Okay, so
Mhm.
I'm thinking it's just because I'm eating, but I mean, I was swelling up like a balloon, sis, and I was like, "What
Yeah.
is going on?" And she was like, "Now you're going into menopause." And thus began the new
Thus
weight loss,
began the journey
the
and
journey.
and the explanation for what you were experiencing, right? I think the
Absolutely.
frustration, the depression, the anxiety, all of that comes in when you're going through and you have no idea why what you used to do is not working, right? And you guys have heard me share this before about even for me, I'm one who always eat clean, work out. You know where I'm at. I'm doing my thing.
Mhm.
Wait a minute, something's not happening. And then because I had gone through it and figured it out, and you were calling me up, and I wasn't quite laughing, but I listened to you and I thought, I know exactly. Now, let's fast forward a month later, we get
Yeah.
our other girlfriend on the phone, and she is saying the same thing. Mind you, Wannae and I
Yes.
already had the conversation, so she's just looping in. So now it becomes this whole triangle of us talking about it and sort of laughing and feeling for her at the same time.
Yeah.
Understand and know what it was she was going through, right? So the three of us are on the phone, like, well, what is this? Well, what do I do? Well, what's happening when you're going through menopause? Well, girl, I used to do X, Y, and Z. So
Mhm.
it takes the support and having the conversation and not being frustrated. So, a couple of things that I want to point out that you just shared. Number one, recognizing and embracing what's going on, right? So, you recognize the fact that you were gaining weight. Number one, you had a whole shift in your life because you guys moved, like you said, from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yes.
You were eating differently because here,
Mhm.
your eating was clean. You were kind of, again, working out. You a lot like me, were doing all these things. So, in all fairness, and this is what I tell everyone, find out where you are, what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Stress can bring on weight gain as well. So there's a lot of things, a lot of factors that can play into what you may be going through. So identifying that and then seeing if, okay, I'm making these lifestyle shifts and changes, but I'm not seeing or feeling the results. So you may not always necessarily see the number on the scale shift one way or the other, but you may feel differently. So I want you to talk about that. So your journey that I shared in the photo, and I'm gonna just kind of take you off screen so that they
Yes.
can see you real quick, real quick. Hold on, I'm gonna take you off
Please.
real quick so they can see you. Oh man, it won't. Hold up. And it did not happen
Girl.
overnight, but I just wanted you all to see that transformation. So for you, did you feel differently or see results first? This is where a lot of people get caught up.
I felt differently first.
Mhm.
I absolutely felt differently. So once we figured out what was going on, and let me say, Delana was great because she was like, "I'm gonna figure this out, y'all."
Oh,
That
oh, yes.
yes, we didn't even talk about that. You got
I
to
didn't
talk
talk
about
about
how that
that
was
part.
born.
Oh, okay. I mentioned the conversation. You're right. I'm sorry. So let me back up.
Yes.
So the conversation. So the three of us were on the phone and we were all just kind of like talking, and just kind of going back and forth and sharing in our misery, so to speak. And what did I say before we got off the phone, before we hung up? What did I say, Juane?
So the first thing was you said the Europeans have this already. You were like, they know about this in Europe, but why aren't the nurse? Now, just for reference, guys, both of us are nurses. So
Mhm.
that's the got you right there. Okay. So we're in the medical field and we're like, what is happening? And she was like, I'm gonna figure this out because the doctors, we're going to the OBGYN. No one is telling us, they're
Mhm.
telling us everything but this, the M word. They're
Right.
not discussing this and we're not tying it in. So Delana said, I'm gonna start a support group. I'm gonna start this group
Sure
and
did.
I'm going to figure out Wannae, and we are going to go on this journey together. And thus the group was born.
Yes. Yes, and yes. I forgot about that part. You see how when you like take something on and you get passionate about it, both you and I'm gonna go ahead and just say who it was on the phone.
Yes.
If she see this live, Nadeline. It was me, you, and Nadeline. We were on live, and we were on there for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. I don't know, and I just kept saying, I don't like this. I do not like not knowing what's going on. And I said, I'm gonna figure this out.
Yes, you did.
And when I
And
do,
did.
and
And
did.
figured it out.
I said, I'm gonna figure this out. And when I do, I'm gonna get back with y'all. And I'm going to make sure that we all, both of us, the three of us, me, you, and Natalie included, go on this journey. And we are going to change the trajectory of what's happening. And
Yes.
it can't be if the three of us are feeling like this, and if we're having this conversation, there has to be a community of women out there who are feeling the same way. I didn't know whether it was or it wasn't, but I knew one thing: Delana Watkins was going to become an expert, and she was going to start that support group, girl. So now, fast forward, we're now, the Black Women in Menopause support group, and we're almost 3,000 women strong, and that's because we made it a private group. At first, it was open, but I feel like, unfortunately, there were people in the group that weren't really supportive of what was happening in the group, and so I tried to make sure that I'm like, that helicopter mom. I'm very protective of my community of women, and especially when they're vulnerable and they're wanting to be able to share and come there and get very vetted information. So
Yes.
I created that group, and it has skyrocketed from there. And I've seen women just come in that group and be like, you know what? This group saved my life.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, because you are having these out of body experiences, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying, the depression, that is not something I'm familiar with. And
Yeah.
so my husband is a truck driver. He was on the road. I had moved here, was just me and the dog. So I'm in this big house and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm just lonely and I miss my girlfriends at home, that sort of thing. But I just found myself crying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was angry. I had these I could literally hear myself like arguing my husband down, and I just couldn't control it. I would be like, when they stop, and I could not stop.
Oh my gosh. That's so powerful because I remember that. Like, I remember us talking, and I'm just thinking, what about the woman who's out there who doesn't have someone to talk to, who doesn't recognize it, who has
Yeah.
no clue what's happening with her, right? Other than to think that she's either going crazy or is clinically depressed. And
Yeah.
when really all it is that your body's going through perimenopause and don't have the support.
And it can be scary because literally I remember us having a conversation, my husband and I was sitting on the steps and he was trying to get it out of me because I couldn't express it. And I was like, sometimes I just feel like I don't want to be here. And he
Yeah.
was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I didn't even want to say it out loud.
Yeah, to hear
But
yourself say that. I remember all of that like as if it were yesterday. And I kept saying to you, and again, we were having several conversations, but I kept saying, Wannae, something's going on. Because
yeah,
even for me, I had the crying part and the not being able to process my emotions and just all of that. And then now I'm going to fast forward to, not really fast forward, but like go into another area of this. And that
okay.
was the workplace.
Horrible.
Horrible. Horrible.
So if you are at this, are you at this spot, ladies? We were at the spot where I didn't have an identity almost. I didn't know what I wanted to do anymore. From nursing, I'm in corporate nursing. Delane and I pretty much have had kind of the same path, which is kind of
Mhm.
funny. And some of the things that
Mhm.
we've done, but by title, I'm a clinical nurse liaison. So I'm doing assessments on patients and I'm moving patients from point A to point B. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And we were talking, but I couldn't figure out what it was I wanted to do with my life,
Mhm.
period. It was
Mhm.
almost like when men go through a midlife crisis, I guess
Right.
I hear them say. And I was just like, what am I doing now? Who am I? I'm not just somebody's wife, mom. Like, what is my identity? So
Yeah.
all of those things compounded, and then going to work and just, I hated every minute
Mm.
of it.
Everything about it. I was so bad, you guys. And listen, this is the first time I'm probably sharing this publicly. So prior to Wannae moving to Houston, we were actually in the same corporate. We were working for the same
Mhm.
corporation. And remember, I'm going through this and not really realizing what I'm going through. So we were working at the same corporation, and I was still kind of doing my entrepreneurial thing at the same time. I knew, and then COVID happened. That did not help things. And so I'm trying to process all this, and like, so that, kind of shifted things a little bit and what we were doing. And I just won't remember again through our multiple conversations. And I said to Wannae, nope, I'm done.
Ain't it?
This is not it. I'm done with this. I'm not feeling fulfilled. Something is happening. Something is going on. And remember, I kept saying, I'm going to figure this out.
Yes.
It's not working. And so we went out to dinner, I believe, because this is right before you left. Yes. And you looked at me and I said, come next month, things are going to shift for me because I am this corporate thing. I'm done. Like this is, and you were like, what? Well, what are you going to do? Where are you going? What do you mean? I said,
because she was just quitting. She was like, I'm just going to quit.
I'm just taking a faith walk. I am out of here. I am destined to do something different. And you're like, what?
Remember, girl, bye. What are you doing with your life right now?
What are you doing with your life? And I remember like typing it out and handing you my phone. And I said, go ahead, read this. This is what it says. And this is what I'm doing. And so there are women who currently are not necessarily in positions like that where they can just kind of say, well, I'm a ship. So this is trying to make menopause in the workplace work for you. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like as well. Now, granted, some people are in more autonomous roles where you can kind of control, like when you're able to take a break, when you are able to take a mental wellness day, when you're able to, lighten your load, so to speak, or do various other things that will support you while you're going through perimenopause in the workplace.
Yeah.
Not everyone is able to be afforded that opportunity. So share with us maybe some things that you felt like could have supported you in that time when you were really at the height of it.
Oh, man, that's such a loaded question. Well, number one, like you said, it depends on where you're at. For me, fortunately, I, like Delana, we're in that corporate America genre. So I literally took a LOA. So I would definitely tell people, look at your PTO, look at your FMLA, and don't be afraid to use it, because this is the time that you want to use it. I promise you. And for me, it was later on than Delana's, but I had that come to Jesus, epiphany, whatever you want to call it, moment myself. And I remember literally taking my laptop and my phone, and I told my husband, drive me to the job. I dropped it off. I sent them an email from my personal phone, and I was like, today is my last day.
Today's the day. Yeah.
Okay, now let me say this. We're not telling you to just run out and quit your jobs and that kind of thing, but you need to know where you're at that point. And that was the beginning stages. And I knew something was going on, just did not know what it was. And I went back to basics. And I think that's important. Sometimes you should just go back to basics, whatever that looks like for you.
Right. So, and you said take FMLA, right? So take LOA if your job offers it, if you qualify for it. Remember, primary care provider on board. Sometimes you just need that separation to decide what to do, to explore what your options are. Oftentimes we don't disengage or unplug to even figure out what's going on. We just kind of push through, or we just lean into whatever it is, right? So what we're saying is assess individually what it is that you need to do for you, for your mental health, your physical health, your reproductive health, all of that. Make certain that your financial health, all of that plays into this transitional period that you're going through with that whole perimenopausal, postmenopausal journey.
Yeah. And use the tools. I mean, I didn't even realize, sometimes you don't even realize you have these tools because we're in such a go, work mode that we don't even know that the job might offer mental health benefits where you can get a counselor. For me, I was able to even later on, taking a step back, I went back to basics. I went back on the floor as a nurse. And then one of my supervisors was like, you should travel. I'm about to travel. And this was like during the second wave of COVID. And that made a world of difference, believe it or not, for me, because it took me out of my comfort zone of what I was doing on a daily basis. And it introduced me to something else. And I was in a totally different environment. And then even later on, going through it even more so, this time I took FMLA and I took an LOA for my job. Literally, I took an LOA from my job and I went to Hawaii for 3 months and I worked.
Yeah.
And I left family, friends.
Mhm.
I had to unplug.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it
but
was.
you
I
found out a
unplugged.
lot about yourself during that time as well, what
Absolutely.
you wanted, what you didn't want, what was different, what were you gonna embrace, kind of like, again, it's a transformation. It's that
Yeah.
feminine evolution. Y'all see me do the snap and the dance, that feminine evolution. Look, get at it. I'm gonna find somebody to make me a soundtrack about that feminine evolution. All right,
Trademark.
right, Trey. All right, so I want to jump ahead really quickly to the weight loss. So
Okay.
that was primarily once we unpackaged all of that, right? Once you
Right.
kind of understood what it was that you needed to do. Remember, you knew that you had, gained weight through all that. Tell me the shift in your mindset that happened coinciding with the lifestyle change as well.
So for me, the saying there's like, if you want different, you have to do something different. That's what I
Mhm,
had to tell myself because we are all creatures of habit. I was a high intensity cardio girl
mhm.
prior to
Yes, you
menopause, and
were.
that worked for me. I could do anything from P90X to any type of hit workouts. Hit workouts were that was my
Oh
zhuzh.
yeah,
Like
you were saying, yeah, I would be like, help yourself. Yeah. Mhm.
right. I'm jumping and spinning and all that, and nothing was working. And so I started to do research. And this is where you have to do the work. You have to put in the work. And a lot of people, they don't like to hear that.
Right.
You do have to put in the work. And that it's as simple as just picking up the phone, looking at
Mhm.
and Google.
Right.
Okay,
And
menopause, exercises for women, like literally that simple.
right. So that and okay, so we talked about this. It was a neck up checkup. Now, mind you, again, you had to spend that time figuring out what was going on, what was happening
Hmm.
before you make the physical change. So, ladies,
Correct.
I'll say to you, like my coaching clients, they get on the phone with me, and it's almost like they want to get in that first session with a plan. Like, I'm a what we're gonna do this and what no, 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 no. We got to figure out what's going on. We got to do that neck up checkup. And that might take one session, might take two, depending on what you have going on. You have to do the work and figure out. You heard what we just said. Our conversation started with as a two-way, then it became a three-way, then it
Yep.
became, okay, what am I going to do? And it was several conversations back and forth about this. It wasn't just okay, come Monday morning, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. It was really
Right.
trying to figure out exactly what's going on, what's happening. And then that leads you to remember, you can't move out of a place if you don't know where you're going, right? And how you got to that place to begin with. So
Absolutely.
there was a lot that goes into it. So I don't want to reference and say, okay, Wannae went from, weighing this amount, on the scale to now
Right.
this, and nothing happens in between or before she got, on the scale to make these changes. It's really a neck up, checkup, um,
Yeah.
work that we have to do before we even begin with the physical part of it.
Correct. And I started to research from every place from Instagram to Google to YouTube for women who were my age.
Hmm.
Specifically, I would say I would put in stuff for menopause. And one phrase kept coming up over and over again, and that was weightlifting.
Yes,
Anything
strength
with
training.
weight,
Strength
strength
training.
training.
Yeah, okay, so I wanted to change that because you talked about HIIT. So that was part of what I was gonna say after the lifestyle change and changing your behavior. So most of the clients and women that they wanna cardio it up or we wanna HIIT train. No, not at this point. So tell us now, you said strength training or weightlifting. I hate to say weightlifting because I think
Yes, because women get scared. Yeah,
thinking it. So it's more strength training and you can use your
yeah,
own body weight, but it is
absolutely.
definitely strength training. So
Right.
talk to us a little bit about that. How did you go from being a hit person,
Hit queen, honey.
a hit queen to now understanding that you're coming over here to my side with the strength training? So
Right. Well, and the other thing too is I have my good brother Rob, who is Danella's husband. Actually,
mhm,
we would always talk about different exercises and this and the other. And I was kind of telling him what I was going through. And he was like, sis, you need to pick up some weights. And I
mhm,
was like, man, me and Delana talked about this. And you get scared because you're like, the first
mhm.
thing women say is, oh, I don't want to be looking like a man.
Right. I don't want
That's
to bulk up. I don't want to get, kind
all
of that masculine look and all of that. But there is a way in which you do what you do at the time
absolutely.
that you do it, right? There's a place and a time for everything. And now's the time where we want to preserve, our muscle mass
Yes. Yes, for
while we're
sure.
going through this fat loss.
And I did something that I had swore I would never do too, and that was join a gym. So
Mhm,
for those who don't know, Delana has always been the gym girl. I was a workout at home queen. Okay,
mhm.
so because you can do your hits, everything from YouTube, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get in this gym. And so I literally had it was trial and error. Literally, you have to see what works for you, right? So I went in and I said, okay, I started breaking it down in blocks. Okay, how long can my body, what can I do right now? Okay.
Mhm.
And that may look like 15 minutes and maybe 20, maybe 30. When I first started, I think I could barely do 30 minutes in the gym, which was kind of a punch in the face for me because here I
Really
am
do. Mhm.
usually doing 45 to an hour workouts, 45 minutes to an hour workouts doing hit. But now I'm doing strength training. So this is different.
Right.
My body's like, what are you doing?
Doing. Mhm. Yeah.
So I started with the Stairmaster. The Stairmaster became one of my best friends. Okay. I got on the Stairmaster and we cussed her out a couple of times
Oh,
because
yeah.
I
Mhm.
was out of breath. I couldn't do it. So I started very slowly. I think I did like 15 or 20 minutes. And then I built up where now my normal routine is that is my opening part of my workout.
Mhm.
So I will
Mhm.
spend 30 minutes just on the Stairmaster to open my workout, so to
Right.
speak. Okay. And then I broke it down in blocks on segments on what I was trying. What am I trying to target? And a lot of women will go to the gym, or even if you're doing a home workout, you have to pick your target. You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, right? So I would say, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to do Mondays and Wednesdays, it's going to be upper body. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's going to be lower body. And
Right.
then in between there, I'm going to stick in some abs, this and the other. And then I ask for help. I
Mhm.
ask for help in the gym. Hey, this is what I'm trying to achieve. What machine is going to help me achieve that?
Right. To help me target that.
Correct.
Exactly. So that's
Correct.
the physical plan.
That's the
Excellent.
physical plan.
That's the
Okay.
physical plan. So good. All right. So we talk about the neck up checkup, and then we talked
Yeah.
about the actually going into the gym, switching from being totally cardio focused or
Hmm.
being a hit queen to now focusing on the strength training and the benefits of doing that. So, needless to say, we see the transformation. It worked. And so, when I said to you, I want you to come on to our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday, the overarching focus was to say to people, this isn't something that kind of happens overnight. I wanted
Right.
to go all the way back to when you said something's not working. Well, first of all, something's happening and what
Right.
I'm doing isn't working. And so I guess the underlying message that I want women to get is two things: that you're not going to see results overnight, that we need to make sure that when we recognize that there's something going on in the realm of weight gain. We need to go, and not that all of it can be related to perimenopause. It may not be your story that it's perimenopause, but whatever shifted, whatever changed, it could be a major stressor, a life event that shifted, and now you're holding on to weight because your body's dealing with that stress, right? And so stress
Absolutely.
is to eat away at our body. So I want you to do that individualized breakdown of what's going on with you. Spend that time figuring that out, and that way you don't get into a position of being frustrated, because frustration does not solve the situation at all.
At all. And doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, it took me a minute for that. I mean,
Mhm.
we're going into when you see these pictures, this is going into year 3 now.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So, because we moved here in I want to say 2022. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I mean, I had been struggling with this and trying to do the weight loss when COVID was happening because a lot of us gained weight during COVID, right? And we were home, and then you come out of it, and this is a new normal, and now this weight. And literally, even with everything that I just said and doing all that breaking down, I still only dropped 10 pounds.
Right. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then we'll go to the next part of that. But it was 10 pounds, and I hit a wall, a brick
Yeah.
wall. And I
Mhm.
was like, what is happening?
Yeah. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? So we're gonna do a part two.
Yes.
The reason why I said we're going to do a part two is because I really feel like this part is a lot for people to digest.
Mhm.
And I want part two to really be the plan. So
Okay.
part 2 will be the plan. This part, I think, help us set the groundwork for
Yeah.
what it takes, and where you are, the frustration and the confusion. So when I posted about this, I said, are you frustrated about the weight gain? Are you confused about what to do to shift and start to get into a weight loss program?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we get somewhere in that wheelhouse. We kind of get, stuck, because we're trying to figure out again, why are we gaining weight? Why are we not able to lose weight? Most of my clients will say, but I only eat a salad and I'm drinking the juice and this and that. Um,
And that's a
mm-mm.
whole nother conversation.
See what I mean? That's why there is going to be a part 2, because we have to talk about the approach and then finally the solution. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about the approach in part 2, and then the solution, the ultimate solution that kind of got you to where you are and it's helping you to maintain, because then that becomes maybe even a part 3. People are talking about the sustainability of
Absolutely.
what you're doing, right? And so nothing that we do should have you going to sleep one way and waking up another and not feeling like this is going to be sustainable. Who can operate in that space and be, worried? So then you go from frustration to confusion to worry about, am I going to lose the weight? And then turn around, 30 days, 60 days from now, am I back in the same situation? Kind of like that yo-yo you spoke about before.
Right.
So we have to talk about what the plan looks like, right? The approach, the plan, and then making it sustainable.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, they've said it for years and years, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's an
Mhm.
easy word to roll off your tongue, but it truly is. I mean, all of these things that we're discussing tonight are to lead you to a lifestyle
Right.
change. And
Absolutely.
that is very difficult when you've led a certain lifestyle for a lengthy period of time, or your body was used to a certain lifestyle.
Right.
And
Mhm.
those changes that were taking place where I was forever, and I just couldn't wrap my mind for the longest time of why it was not working.
Exactly. Yeah. I am right there with you. You already know. I was like, why did I say I'm going to figure this out? No, this is not happening. I did not go 40 plus years with a certain, level of lifestyle and looking a certain way to now get into fitness. No. So I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And so I want to be able to offer that same thing to women who may be viewing this, hearing it, seeing it on the replay, to know
Yeah.
that again, you're not alone. This is us having a hey girl, hey girlfriend conversation to say we recognize that this is real. This is something that, probably half of the women, if not more, in that perimenopause, or not even perimenopause age, or just women in general,
Mm,
across the spectrum, may be dealing with life issues and have this, weight gain, that they're trying to figure out. And so we see these commercials, right? We see these, kind of before, during, after, da, 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 and they
yeah.
don't really tell you, give you the heart and the emotions and the difficulty and the, pushing the rock uphill type of scenario to really understand what it takes to kind of get to the other side of it, get through it, and then stay there, right?
And
Is
stay
you
there.
you might can get, but is it sustainable? So
Yeah.
I want to have you back for part 2. We'll do weight loss, wellness and weight loss show. We'll do a part 2 and we'll talk about the sustainability, the action part of it, the approach, action, and sustainability part of it, because
Yeah.
you've done it. And so I feel like, it's good to hear from me and people to, talk, but it's, sometimes they're like, okay, Delana, we want to hear from
You work
somebody else.
out, girl. This is easy
Yeah,
for you.
we want to hear from somebody else. Like, so I want to have you back, and we will likely do it in 2 weeks. Next Wednesday is Valentine's Day. So we'll probably do it in 2 weeks, where we will come on and talk about what part 2 looks like for them.
Yeah. That sounds great.
All right,
I'm
sounds good.
excited.
Me too. I might even have you getting in some workout clothes and do a whole, strength training. We're gonna just do a whole. We'll see. We're gonna talk about that in the green room and see what that
Yes.
looks like, so we can
Okay.
get women to really see. It's like, us having the conversation, but now let them see a little something, something. Let 'em
Yes.
see.
Because it can
Okay.
be done. If we can do it, y'all definitely can do it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. All right. So again, I
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
Thank you, Wannae Anderson of Dark Diva House of Beauty. Make sure you guys follow her on Instagram. You're on Instagram or Facebook with Dark
I'm
Diva.
on Instagram and Facebook.
Both. Okay. Dark Diva House of Beauty. I want you to make sure you go and follow her because she got some amazing things coming up now that she done pushed through all of this on the opposite side of that only I know about. But if you follow her, you'll find things as well. So thank you guys for joining us. If you're watching the replay, make sure you use hashtag replay. Drop any questions, comments, or hey girl, I understand, I feel it, or share your journey as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys on part 2 of the wellness and weight loss journey with our special guest, Wannae Anderson. Bye-bye.
Love you, sis.
Bye. Thank you.
Of course.